This lecture was created by Danny Kessler, Associate Professor at Dongso University and Korea's first PhD in wellness tourism. Walk through modern Seoul today and observe that tattoos serve as a defining cultural language. For Generation Z, fine line and minimalist markings operate as premium expressions of identity, artistic aesthetics, and personal autonomy. Yet, if we look back through human history, we find a different reality. Long before humans inserted pigment into the dermis for decorative art, they engineered this process as a physical medical intervention. Modern science missed this connection for over a century due to a deep epistemic blind spot. Generations of biomedically biased researchers observed ancient body markings and immediately categorized them as tribal decorations or magical superstitions. That modern bias prevented scientists from investigating further. They overlooked a sophisticated paleomedical technology that intentionally utilized the human skin as an active, long-term therapeutic interface. To understand how this works, examine this cross-section of human skin. Here in the dermis, we find the engine behind therapeutic tattooing, the macrophage pigment cycle. A sharp instrument pushes inert carbon soot past the epidermis directly into the dermal tissue. The immune system identifies this foreign particle immediately, dispatching specialized white blood cells called macrophages to engulf the carbon. This creates a biological trap. Because carbon cannot be enzymatically broken down, the cell is forced to hold the particle where it sits. When the cell eventually dies, it releases the carbon back into the tissue. The immune system detects this, instantly recruiting a brand new macrophage to recapture it. This initiates an endless, lifelong biological loop. The result is a highly controlled, localized, and permanent state of microinflammation. This spinal nerve schematic illustrates the Melzack-Wall gate control theory. Continuous immune stimulation activates fast-conducting nerve fibers. These signals travel rapidly to the spinal cord, closing the spinal gate. This physical block prevents slow-conducting, chronic musculoskeletal pain signals from reaching the brain. We classify this long-term suppression as dermoneuromodulation. It operates as a permanent hardware patch applied over a compromised neural system. Look closely at this photograph of a vibrant shopping district in modern Seoul. The individuals walking these streets use tattoos to project modern aesthetic values. Yet the precise dermal puncture technique they use to assert personal autonomy was originally engineered millennia ago to rewrite the human body's internal pain response. The clearest proof of this medical engineering is preserved in the ice of the rugged Alps, where researchers recovered the 5,300-year-old Tyrolean iceman, 𝗏𝗏𝗏. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 carried 61 distinct geometric carbon markings. Unlike modern visible tattoos, hidden on his lower back, posterior lower legs, and lateral ankles, areas completely obscured by his heavy winter clothing. Advanced forensic clinical diagnostics provided the context. X-rays of his skeletal structure confirmed he suffered from severe lumbar arthrosis, a painful degeneration of the lower spine. This split-screen diagram maps 𝗏𝗏𝗏's markings against modern anatomical charts. Over 80% of his hidden tattoos align directly with classical acupressure points on the urinary bladder meridian, the exact clinical targets used to relieve spinal degeneration. The precise placement matching his internal pathology proves these markings were a targeted, systemic medical intervention applied to manage chronic pain. This paleomedical technology spans isolated cultures. We see identical practices in the Iron Age 𝗶𝗍𝗏 culture, located in the remote Altai Mountains of Siberia. This preserved skin shows how 𝗶𝗍𝗏 elites utilized highly visible, elaborate animal designs on their arms to project warrior identity and social status. However, underneath their clothing along the spine, they applied simple, private dot tattoos. These markings were strictly utilitarian, placed to treat severe joint wear caused by decades of nomadic horse riding. Moving across the world to the arid coast of Peru, we find this 1,000-year-old female mummy from the 𝗟𝗶𝗏𝗏 culture. The 𝗟𝗶𝗏𝗏 made a unique advancement. While her visible arm tattoos used standard soot, the hidden circular markings on her neck were formulated from partially pyrolized medicinal herbs. These specific chemical markings precisely targeted suboccipital trigger points associated with severe cervical tension. These completely isolated human societies converged on the exact same physiological solutions. They operated a strict dual-track system, clearly separating public, decorative identity art from private, functional medical therapy. As integrative wellness scholars, we must evaluate this history through a rigid critical framework. We cannot romanticize the past or ignore its severe physical costs. Dermal modification in antiquity carried immense epidermal risks. Driving foreign matter deep into the tissue frequently resulted in severe local infections, the introduction of deadly pathogens, and high heavy metal toxicity. We must acknowledge the data limitations. This chart distinguishes between bioarchaeological mapping and modern clinical trials. The structural alignment with trigger points is undeniable, but remains associative. It shows correlation, not double-blind clinical causation. We know they applied the treatment, but cannot quantify exact efficacy. Ancient survival strategies demonstrate brilliant structural engineering, but their historical application does not validate reckless replication in modern clinical environments. This analysis yields 3 core academic insights. First, ancient tattooing functioned as an early iteration of neuromodulation, a long-term biological implant designed for pain suppression. Second, history operated on a dual-track paradigm. Ancient societies explicitly separated their highly visible public identity art from their hidden private medical therapies. Third, universal convergence. Completely isolated cultures across thousands of years discovered the exact same treatment points because they were guided by the universal rules of human neuroanatomy. This lecture was created by Danny Kessler, Associate Professor at Dongseo University and Korea's first PhD in Wellness Tourism. Thank you for listening.